Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be talking about some mistakes and some things you should definitely make sure you have put together in your resume. So if you're a nursing student, you just passed your NCLEX, you're ready to go out there and get your very first job, or you're a current nurse and looking to transition to another position. So we want to be able to talk about your resume. Before we get started, my name is Michael, or you can call me Nurse Mike over here at IamNursing.com. IamNursing.com is put together to be able to bring a community of nurses and student nurses to help each other out. And I hope some of these videos that we're actually producing to you guys will be great advice to be able to springboard more conversation. So talking about the resumes, you may ask like, well, Michael, what gives you the authority to tell us what should be and should not be in your resume? Listen, this is not just one of the videos out there that you can watch and in talking about resumes, but I want to be able to give you guys my insight. I've been in this industry for a while. I've been a manager for a while. I've owned and operated multiple different businesses, within the nursing spectrum. And so I've done a good amount of hiring people, and I've gone through a lot of resumes, hundreds and hundreds of resumes in my lifetime. So certain things that you should definitely have that I've seen mistakes made by a lot of people, especially when I'm looking through a lot of the applications. One thing is this is your email, right? I want you to think about that. First of all, if you have one of those, sexy nurse 99, whatever you want to put in your at Gmail or whatever, if you have one of those weird emails, you should actually sit down and create a particular email, a more professional email that's going to be dealing with you guys, right? So this is something that you guys should actually put together and put some thoughts on. Just use your name. If that's not available, then add some numbers, add some other things in there that's going to be able to make it where it's going to be more professional. And of course, easiest way to be able to get an email is just through Gmail, because Gmail now pretty much controls almost everything, and so you should probably just have yourself a Gmail. Now, there's a second option in regards for your emails that you guys can do. I'll give you a good example, is that I used to have an email, right, that was from AOL.com. And so that pretty much tells you how old I am if I still had an email from AOL.com. But anyways, what I ended up doing was that I had my full name. I was able to acquire the website address for my whole name, right? So I ended up creating a email according to my website. So it was info@myfullname.com, right? And I still own that email at this very moment, but the website's not currently up as we are transitioning it right now. Now, here's the thing. If you end up purchasing one of those, let's say, for example, you purchase your domain name and have the email attached to that, what's amazing about it is you can use your website as a virtual resume, right? You can actually have your website as your resume and have it, actually, if you use like a WordPress, which is an easy design, or Wix, or wherever you want to use, it's going to be a very nice presentation and shows that you are more updated nowadays as you go. So that's one good option for your particular email, but make sure you watch the structure of your email. What's the name that you're using? You want it to be more professional as much as possible, right? You don't want it to be, if somebody sees your resume, if you look at your resume, you're going to see the name and the email first most of the time. And if you have some weird ass name in there, honest to God, that can be a turnoff for a potential employer, or at least put you in the bottom of the pile. All right. Next thing is, I've seen people when they actually put their full address down in their resume. I truly suggest that that's something that you don't do at all. Don't put your full address. The fact that you're applying at a particular company, that means you are in the area and that you can probably commute to them, right? And it'll be a good fit for you. That's something that you guys want. So your resume should not have your address, because you're understanding if you ship your email to some company or somebody you're trying to apply for, it's going to go through multiple people's hands, and the last thing you want to do is your address just going out there. Now, of course, when you apply with somebody, apply with a company, you got the job and you're filling out the whole application process, then you can put your email right, you can put your address right there, or when you start filling out the full forms when you start getting, start working for them. So that's one thing you should also definitely look at and definitely not do. The next thing is, you shouldn't put any social media addresses. Like, for example, my social media address for Instagram is I am nursing, right? At I am nursing for Instagram. And there's not a lot of information there yet. We're adding more and more to that. But that's the thing. You don't want that to go there, because look, people will snoop. People that are hiring, some people, like me, for example, and I'm sure a lot of employers, they are now starting to look into your social media. If your social media is not up to par, right, or something that you can't be proud of, unfortunately, right, then that's the biggest problem that can happen. There can be certain times where people are actually going to be looking through your stuff, right? And they might see certain photos that might not work well for them. And that's another thing also. If you're in the process right now of actually going and looking for a job, even if you, let's say for example, you have your Instagram or you have your Facebook, open to the public where anybody can just view it, I would truly suggest when you're in looking for a job at that very moment is to be able to make sure you put that in private. Now your followers, your friends can actually see the stuff that you're posting, but people from the outside jumping in is not going to be able to see that. So if you are looking for an application, if you're applying for a job, go ahead and make sure that you set all of your social media items into private mode so that nobody can snoop in there from there, okay? So make sure you don't put that in your resume. Other thing is, look, there's a study I read once that they say that over 30% of people's resume have something false in it or something that is, a lie. Right? So that's the thing. Don't lie, right? Because eventually lies do come out and you should definitely prevent that from happening. Make sure whatever is in your resume is not, is all the truth for you guys. Now, I'll tell you guys something, to be honest, there are times where I've worked for other places that I've only worked there for like maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or even a month, just, per diem and all those kind of things. I don't include those into my resume, to be honest, right? Because I don't have any holes, within my nursing career because I've always have been working as much as possible. So, and then also those large holes sometimes can be a quick thing for people to say, like, why did this nurse who's been working for 10 years have 1 year off not working? So there's those questions. You don't want to be able to open up any potential questions in people's heads as much as possible. So that's one thing that you guys definitely need to make sure that you guys actually look at. By the way, just let you guys know, if you hear the snoring in the background, that's my little dog over there just snoring along. But anyways, that's not going to stop me from making this video. Moving on, what else should not be in your wonderful resume that you guys are trying to put together? A lot of misspelled words. That's something that you guys need to do. Look, you can proofread it. You can use Grammarly. You can use your Windows, your Windows Word that's going to be able to do some spell check. Use spell check, guys, for gosh sakes. Now, just let you guys know, I'm the worst speller in the world. My friends and my family will tell you guys that the truth. So I make sure and I take advantage of using spell check, making sure that it's actually done correctly. And I actually use Grammarly to make sure that my grammars are on point. Okay, another thing that you guys shouldn't do is you should not be using all these little cute fonts for your resume. Listen, just keep it simple. To be honest, one of the nicest fonts I like to see nowadays, and I actually prefer to use, is the Century Gothic font. But there's all these other fonts that are actually available out there. Make sure that you guys use those, all right? And so there's that one from the early '90s and stuff like that, Comic Sans. If I've seen people's resume where they use that particular one, it looks like a comic book type of font. That's one of the worst fonts ever that you guys can use. The next thing also is, do you put a photo or not a photo? To be honest with you guys, I don't like putting photos on my resume. I don't think there's a need for that, but sometimes people do put that and it's perfectly fine. That's my preference not to have my photo, but other people don't mind putting their photos as well. And if you're a person that wants to put your photo into your resume, don't use glamour shots. I don't know if you guys remember what glamour shots are. So once again, I'm giving on my age because there's that glamour shots. Have you ever seen a real estate person's, business cards nowadays, and they actually have, a photo of themselves in there, and it looks like they're all glamored up. There was this company that used to do glamour shots that made people supposed to look very sexy, both male and females, and honest to God, they just end up looking like a, 1970s porn star. So anyway, I'm sorry. But anyways, maybe you don't know what a 1970s porn star is, but whatever. Moving on. Okay, so there you go. Fonts, photos, all right? Another thing that you guys need to look at is making sure that if you're going to be using a template, don't use the typical templates that other people are using. Use a more professional template that's out there. Try to change it up a little bit differently. And honestly, definitely use a template. The reason why is because that some people just decide to type it from top to bottom, and that could be definitely a problem. So make sure you use a nice template that works pretty well for your type of resume, okay? So those are my little insights about resumes and what you guys need to do. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave us a message. Leave a message down below. Subscribe with us. I definitely want to be able to keep on giving you guys great content. Once again, thank you so much, guys, and you guys have a great day.